Shit, I don't know if y'all can hear me. And okay, peace, peace, peace. What's up? Hey, real quick, we gonna sneak into this Twitter space and see what these crackers in here talking about reparations. I see some of the usuals up in there, so hopefully they get their ass smoked. Let's listen in, y'all. Let me share my screen real quick.
Republican and turning everything into politics that isn't even politics. It is not politics to talk about racism. Racism is terrible and it's racism. If somebody has conscripted racism as a political talking point,
Hey, will somebody get in here? Let me know they can hear the sound.
because it's not a political thing, it's a sin thing.
Yeah, it's a human rights violation.
Racism is sin. Racism is a human rights violation, has nothing to do with Democrat or Republican. It's a disgusting human heart issue. And anybody who's racist needs to repent before God and get over it and repent to people. So it's a political thing.
Mel, ain't it one group of people that's subjugated to that oppression of racism in this country?
Yeah, yes. And
absolutely not.
Also, how about
who else? Talk to me.
Yes, how about Native American?
Yeah, you're talking to me. I'm Native American, dude.
Okay, so have you been able
online bitching and screaming like a little bitch about this shit?
We're trying to come together and help everybody realize that it's the government, it's not us. Go talk to Native Americans. Go talk in other countries to other people who have been enslaved. Y'all have been done dirty. I 100% agree. Everybody in this room 100% agrees that y'all have been done dirty. And it's not we, the people, who are doing you dirty. It is the government who is using you to get their talking points, to then get you to vote for them, to then get to grift off of you, and then go, oh, well, sorry, that didn't work. It is the oldest psychopathic viewpoint pattern. Go study psychopaths. This is what they do. They make you believe something that they're going to do, and then, oh, it didn't happen. And guess what? They're going to keep you in poverty and slavery. They're going to keep going, and it's them. And as soon as y'all realize it's them doing this to you and it's not us doing this to you, it's not about parties. It's about an evil cabal at the top. And by the way, it's a uniparty because there's Republicans and Democrats in on this. So the sooner we, the people, realize that it's the government, it's the political cabal and the uniparty at the top that's doing this, and we gather up and we become friends and we stop battling each other and we link arms and we go, it's really not about that. And yeah, y'all have been done dirty. And you know what? A lot of repentance needs to happen, but it's not happen as long as the government.
I'm gonna step down after this one. Mad Dog and Pun. When somebody talk about reparations, is it your tax dollars? Is that always your number one go-to, that you're not taking my tax dollars?
Yes, 100%, absolutely, absolutely, because absolutely, because here's why: the government actually produces nothing. The government doesn't make its own money. The government produces nothing. So it's my tax dollars, and it's your tax dollars, and it's everybody in this room's tax dollars that go to that. And absolutely, I am required as an American citizen, and so are you, by the way, to make sure that your tax dollars are spent in the absolute best possible way that they can be, that benefits all of us the most.
Well, I'm going to say it like this. I'm fucking sick and tired of raising my hand, so I'm going to say what I got to say, and I'm going to fucking say it. All right. It's like this. I'm Native American. There are a shit ton of us that aren't online screaming about this. We don't care. Why? Because we moved on, we've adapted, and we developed. All right. I want to make a few points here because this shit's pissing me off. For one thing, how many people in your family were actually slaves?
Can I answer that?
Oh, enough. Enough. I've did my lineage.
Can I answer that?
I did my lineage. Enough.
Can I answer that?
Go ahead. Is
all four
question and nothing else? Answer.
Can y'all hear me?
Yes, can hear you.
Yeah, 4. I answer this question. 4.
Okay.
What's your next question, Fun?
I'm asking shut up, shoot. I'm not asking anyone else. So everyone else, shut up.
All right, listen to this. My mom that's still living.
Hey, be respectful, bro.
Yeah, he gonna be all right. He's gonna be all right. He's gonna get cussed out in a minute, but I know Mel will kick us out of here. So I'm trying to keep it all respectful. My mom's was a sharecropper, man. A sharecropper. She's still here today. All right. Go on past that. We getting back into the 1800s. We getting back into into when I don't even know if you was around. I don't even know if your people was around, because I really don't believe the stuff that you're saying. Man, listen, all of my people has been subjugated and oppressed under this system. All of them. Every bit of them. My homies that are doing 20 years in the pen for petty crimes, the redlining, the Jim Crow
Hey,
laws,
yo,
the
somebody let me know they
slavery.
can
If
hear,
you
man.
we
Hear
can
the sound.
get
I don't know if you can hear the sound.
individualized and get way on back there into the early 1800s, when slavery was the way of the land, when slavery was the reason that you are able to enjoy some of the lifestyle that you have right now, because you're sitting on a 300 and 400 year head start, but you don't realize how much you benefited from that. So you're saying I'm going to get in the way of a group of people that I claim and act like I really like, and get in their way of fighting the government because of your tax dollars. Well, what about my people's whole paycheck, man? What about my people's whole generational wealth that was lost?
Well,
The land laws, all of that type of stuff. What do you got to say about that? I'm saying, won't you go get yours too, Native? If that's what happened to you and your people,
That's
what would you get in the way of mine for?
go get it from who though?
listen,
From
listen to
me?
me. You said your people. What do you mean your people?
Man, don't start asking all these questions. You know what the hell I'm talking about.
No, you just said that.
You know what the hell I'm talking
The
about.
exact
What is your problem with
on.
what is your problem with what is your problem
This is what
with
I'm
Black Americans getting paid? Man, listen, it's just a
All right. So this is going to be turning into a shouting match, and I don't want that. I'm going to have my speak. I'm going to have my say, and then we understand. We understand how you feel. What I'm telling you is, it is just absolutely pointless to say that the people who live in streets around the corner from you, who are, because of the color of their skin being white, we've benefited while you haven't. While you have been just, we didn't benefit. Y'all should have been in the same situation. Y'all should not have been oppressed. You shouldn't have been oppressed like we weren't oppressed, and neither should you have been. But you're sitting here saying things like Jim Crow laws and all these stuff. Guess who's doing that to you? The government's doing that to you. It's the same government who then turns around and who honeypots you into believing that you're going to get this. And I promise you, if they tomorrow said, okay, reparations are happening, it would be a big money laundering scheme, and you wouldn't get it. We see it on our side too, on the.
And why do you think that?
Hey, Black Side, can you get the audio?
That's interesting.
I'll have to tell you this.
Yeah, I can hear it. Yeah.
Okay, all right, that's all I need.
I'm white, clearly. My daughter is white. She's a school teacher.
Yeah, I can hear it.
She went and they went and marched in Oklahoma on the Capitol because the pay for teachers is absolutely ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. And so they went and marched on this. A white governor, woman in the office, or yes, governor at the time. And so they went, and all these teachers were out there picketing, and every color, every walk of life out there picketing. And there had been all this money that had been promised, this taxpayer dollars across Oklahoma. We had all gone out and voted and said, yes, we want to do a teacher salary raise, and we will give this, we are going to agree to vote in this tax. We voted in this tax, and then guess what? The teacher's pay went up like 10 cents. But all of Oklahoma was putting into this tax fund. Well, it turns out the whole thing was being money laundered through the casinos into the hands of the politicians. And we uncovered it, and we went to the Capitol and we marched. And the governor said, y'all are a bunch of spoiled teachers. Go back to your jobs. And it's like, so this is not about color at this time. This is about the whole idea. What's happening to you? They're doing it to all of us in different ways. They will just do it to us. They will use whatever they can, that whatever we will fall for, and they will continue to get us to pay taxes for stuff that they just use as a money laundering scheme to pay themselves. And y'all are an
don't
easy
understand.
target because you fall for it,
Fucking
is all I'm
idiot.
saying. Not because you're not wonderful people, but because they are preying on your wounds. They're preying on your woundedness. 100%. And that's what I have to say. Now I'm going to go to Jeremiah, because you were up, and then Kiwi, and then Salty.
Hello, my friends. This has been a long conversation. So first, I want to answer the question of the kid that I can't remember who his name is. If you want to know about the Missouri versus Biden case and what's going on, I was in a very, very good space earlier with Tracy Beans, and she's a very good person to follow on that. She said that they could appeal it, but there's no way out of it. That being said, the fact that they are trying to appeal it is questioning within itself. Just look at that logically. Secondly, hey Mel, did you put your pants on one leg at a time this morning?
Did.
I think we all did. So that answers your question with reparations. I love you all.
You're awesome. Okay, go ahead, Kiwi, and then Salty.
Okay. So, was it to shut? I think it's shut up. Anyway, reparations don't work. I live in a nation that has been paying out reparations to the sum of over $28 billion, to the sum of we're going co-governance, and it is pushing us into a polar opposite direction called an apartheid over here. So reparations don't work. We're paying reparations to not even the indigenous people here, but just another group of settlers. So again, reparations don't work. Now, when we break down these first set of settlers, only a handful of these people are actually receiving the reparation, and they're keeping that all tied up in a sick corporation that they are heading out. So they get the salary where everyone beneath them get nothing. They haven't fixed the homeless problem on that side. They haven't fixed the policing problem, but they are going to bring in a different policing system for them to the rest of the nation. They have got an apartheid on our medical. They get a different medical treatment than the rest of us. So if you want reparation, you're going to ask for a polar opposite effect than what you've got now. You're actually going to create an apartheid on white. Now let's talk about that for a second. You put a white school together and a black school together, and you put down the curriculum that's being run today. Aren't all our children getting taught exactly the same? Therefore, aren't our children going through the exact same motions? We can't segregate black from white from the indoctrination. We can either A, come together, build bridges, or we can keep going down the avenue that we've been going and funding apartheids through reparation and keep digging that moat between the people bigger and bigger and bigger. White people have been oppressed as long as black people have been oppressed. Okay, and now according to fantasy history, white people are come from originally black generations. Then what happened to us? Why were we ostracized out? So we can go down the dark rabbit hole. It's going to absolutely get us nowhere. We need to look at what's going on in the immediate present and immediate future, because if we don't single out our voice around that, we're going to lose it all. And America wasn't just built on black slavery, it was built on oppression and slavery, period. Any nation is, okay? But we're getting ready to lose it all because we're all uptight and hooked up on this sort of debate, which is a no-nonsense debate. Again, you're not the indigenous to the nation. Okay, but the land was once one. The people were once one. We have to get over this division. We have to stop being a part of a corporate division, because it is a corporate funded apartheid on humans. They want us at each other's throat. They're warmongering you and me against each other. They're warmongering male against female. They're warmongering straight against gays. This is what they do. And they use their systems to fund all this.
Right. Yeah.
We have to come to a middle ground, but reparations absolutely do not work. 100% guaranteed.
Thank you, Kiwi. You're absolutely right. I appreciate that. I'm always going to let my co-host jump in front. So go ahead, Marlon.
I'll be quick. I think we're in modern day slavery. I have to work every week, and I have just barely enough money to pay my bills. And I work like a dog, like a slave, right? This is where we're at right now. And Kiwi's right, man. We need community back. And I'm going to tell you, I'm going to point again at Camden. Let me tell you, they got that town on the wrap, man. They are doing great things in that town. They're bringing businesses back in, industry. You know, these are the things that we all need to go to work, and it takes work, man. So I'm here with you, Mel. I live in a very diverse area, man. So I know all about racism, and people are way nicer now than they've ever been.
Yeah, and we really are coming together, and eyes are opening, and people are beginning to see, and we just need more people to see that we need to come together and be friends and do this together, and realize that we're not coming at you, and you don't need to come at us. We are of the same mind, that this has been wrong, that the government has done this to you, to us, to all of us, has been wrong. And we have fallen for it, and we're bitter and fighting each other. And that's absolutely, we can come together and do it different, because we absolutely can come above this. Go ahead, Salty.
Hey, thanks, Mel. So I just want to say, Kiwi, you're absolutely on target. And, you know, just honestly, it's not about, you know, I live in gold rush country, and I live in the Sierra foothills where, you know, gold was discovered here in California. And I can tell you, it breaks my heart for any form of slavery, and for anybody. It doesn't matter the color of your skin, your nationality, whatever, because really and truly here in California, just as much as there was the you know, the Black population that was enslaved in the South, there was the Chinese population enslaved here in California. And I can tell you, literally, it takes me 20 minutes to drive up to where the Chinese camps were. And it breaks my heart for any of that, because nobody should have to put up with that. But we can't change history. We can change now, and we can change our future. And the whole thing about, you know, going, you know, the whole thing about, you know, going forward, and, you know, the slavery and stuff, it doesn't matter the race, your creed, your nationality here in the United States, until people understand that the government has just changed the plantation. We're all enslaved. We are. And no matter how hard we work, I mean, literally, I don't know how it is in other states, but here in California, you know, the government agencies are unionized. And so we cap out at, you know, however much they determine for, you know, an hourly wage for, you know, for government workers. And I can tell you, here in California, trying to live in a state where cost of living is through the roof, you know, I'm lucky. You know, we own our vehicles outright, but we still have a mortgage. We still have bills to pay. And so when you really look at the whole, you know, the thing, when you think about the whole thing, you know, it breaks my heart to see people enslaved, no matter what the situation.
Amen. You're right. Yeah.
And
So, thank you.
if you don't,
Go ahead.
really, sorry, Val, really quick. If you aren't familiar with, you know, and Pun and I have talked about this several times. You know, Bohemian Grove is an hour and a half, maybe an hour from where I am. And if you don't know what Bohemian Grove is, y'all need to research it and you all need to understand what it is. And it takes place in August. And I'm planning on taking a trip down there. And when you start to understand what these people do, and it doesn't matter, Democrat, Republican, it does not matter. The most damage they can do, that's what they want to maximize, is how much damage can we do? How much division can we cause? Because the minute we come together as Americans and understand that we all want to save this country and make things right, they win.
Right, Rachel, hold on. I want to correct you on something. Let's not focus on what they're actually doing. Let's focus all our attention on something that they will not do, like reparations. How about that?
Right. Yeah, no, totally agree. And you know, again, I don't think that's going to happen. I tend to agree with Mel because, you know, even here in California, if they try to do that and pass it as a tax, it's not gonna work, because you're gonna have plenty of people who are gonna file lawsuits because it is taxation without representation, and that is against the Constitution.
It's gonna turn exactly what happened with the whole student loan forgiveness. That's not going to happen, and then they know, and that's the problem I have, is they know that it's not going to happen, but they know people will fall for it, and that's what makes me sad, is because absolutely are using people for their own game. They're gaming all of us, 100%. Okay, let me go to the next person is Sunny, and then Tim, and then I'm sorry, I don't know how to say your last name, Nyheim, but let's go in that order. Go ahead, Sunny.
Yeah, thanks for allowing me to speak. I just want to be able to get my build off uninterrupted. Yeah, so when we talk. Go ahead.
Interrupt you as if you go too long. That's the only reason.
All right, so we talking about slavery. First of all, Black Americans or Americans through and through. I didn't trace my lineage all the way back to 1710 on census records, birth certificates, and paperwork and documents. So, you know, respectfully, I really don't, you know, I heard people talking about their family came here in the 1900s and they just got here and they ain't been here a whole century yet. My family been here. And while your family was on their way over here, Black Americans was building this whole nation up brick by brick, piece by piece, layer by layer. So, yeah, reparations is due. This is the backlash of the political awakening of Black Americans. This is not an automatic vote for Governor Newsom. Until the ink is dry and the checks is cut, ain't nothing promised to no politician. Because Black Americans are waking up, regardless if you Republican or Democrat. We will be weighing both options and seeing who is the best party to move forward, right? And I heard a lot of pushback from these conversations, and I've heard any pushback from people who've already received some type of form of reparations, whether that be Native Americans, and should I say it? Is people scared to say I already said it, Jews. The Jews. They already got reparations. But nobody has ever, I've never seen a Twitter space where people are mad at the Jew because your ass scared because you know you would get fired and it's going to be a hell of a lot of backlash. But the Jews been getting reparations. Another thing, reparations is already happening all across the country. It's a freight train on the way. It's nothing that you could do to stop it. That's just it. We talking about California. It's a reparations task force in Detroit, Boston, Philly, Phoenix, Arizona, Virginia, Atlanta, Georgia. So, It's pretty much nothing y'all could do. We could have the conversation and send it around California, but California is not the only state that's having conversations about reparations, right? And another thing, California definitely has the money for reparations. Look, California spends $23 billion a year on illegal immigrants, not people going through due process, coming over here legally the right way, filing their paperwork and stuff like that. They spent $23 billion on illegal immigration, on illegal immigrants. A majority of that is coming from Latin America, right?
Agreed.
$60 billion sit home between 2021 and 2022 in remittances just to Mexico by itself. So the money is there for reparations. And instead of Americans coming up here with smart business savvy and saying, hey, let's pay back and repair people who are citizens, because Black Americans don't got no abuela to send money back home Western Union. But instead of giving them the money that's going to actually circulate and stimulate and boost the economy, like how y'all gave the money away to the Ukrainians. Listen, I didn't ask for for none of my tax money to get sent to Ukraine and Afghan and nothing like that. But I'm hearing actual pushback from actual Black Americans who put in blood, sweat, and tears to build up this country. I don't want to hear no more about this. Break my heart. Break your wallet open and send that check. You know what I'm saying? We don't really care about the lack of emotional intelligence on this space. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And as far as people finding slaves, I got, like I said when I interrupted, I got 4 slaves on. I got slavery on all sides. Just for context of the conversation, I'm Black American on both sides. I got slavery on both sides. One of my third great grandmother, Anne Maria Maddox, coming out of the Maddox Plantation out of Franklin County, Virginia, who was born into slavery, who was raped at the age of 15, was forced to have 6 children from the slave master. Another one of my ancestors, Kitty Payne, you guys may have heard of her. It's a book out called Chariot on the Mountain. She was able to get her freedom from a slave master's deathbed. She went to Pennsylvania. The slave master's wife didn't like it. They came back and put her back in captivity. She had to go through a whole court process to fight and get her freedom back again. So yeah, all this stuff where it's going to be hard to find who. We know who the descendants are. We have the paperwork. We got the documents. It's going to a specific ethnic group of people. And yeah, reparations is due. And it's pretty much nothing y'all can do about it.
Well, thank you so much for coming up to speak, and I appreciate you speaking with being articulate and not not using cuss words and stuff. I appreciate that because I've been telling everybody tonight, keep the room PG. So I appreciate that. You said a lot there, and there's some things I totally agree with and some that I don't, but that's okay. That's what the First Amendment's about, and freedom of speech. I 100%. I don't think there's anybody in this room that is okay with any of our dollars going to Ukraine. And I don't know. I can't speak for everybody, but I know that I can speak for all my friends here that none of us, along with you, agree to that. Absolutely none of us in this room that I know of, unless there's trolls or people we don't like in this room, are okay with the ones that are coming over the border, that they're spending all the money on these illegals coming in and taking our jobs, taking your job, taking all of our jobs. I say our, I mean us, taking our jobs, taking our Social Security, doing all the things that they're doing. It's ridiculous. And this is the government that's doing this. The government is doing all of these things at once, is doing all siphoning our money through the money laundering system over in Ukraine, helping out Biden with his coke problem, and his son, and all the things, hiding all of the treason, the espionage, all the things that's going on at the top. And that is my point to you, is we have to realize and recognize that what is going on, they are doing to all of us, and they are using the open doors, the open wounds, that's a spiritual principle, that's an emotional principle, that's a physical principle. It's to go find where you're wounded and poke a stick in it, a hot brand iron in it, and stick it in there real good and get you good and mad, whatever it's about. And you come at other people and scare them for what you want. Now, what we should be doing is we should all be pointing all of this at the right people, and that is the government. And the government cannot be coming and taking money from the people to support what the government needs to fix. The government needs to fix this for y'all. The government needs to fix it for me too. They need to fix it for me that children are being trafficked and enslaved right now. If you want to talk about slavery, it's going on all over America right now, and it's our children. It's literally our children. And it was you before that. And it was also the children. It's always been the children. And also for a while, it was Black America. So I'm not denying that it happened. But what I am saying is you're wanting to take from other Americans to shore up what was happening to you, when us, the government, us, everybody, no matter what the color of our skin, we're saying the same thing. Hey, the government's taking our money and giving it to Ukraine. Hey, the money's taking our money and using it for child trafficking. Hey, the government is taking our money and using it for bringing people across the border. Hey, the government taking money and totally sticking it to Black people. We should all be on the same page. Reparations is not the way, but we can find a way. Am I saying you should stay poor? No. Am I saying you shouldn't have money? No. But I'm saying it shouldn't be taken away from your fellow citizens and the tax dollars. There's got to be a different way for them to pay besides making other people poor that didn't do this to you. You don't have a slave right now. I mean, there's no slaves right now. Nobody in this room was ever a slave. And I know that's a cheap ass, comment to make, because I know y'all are hurt. Your families have been hurt. And I don't deny that. It's terrible and it's disgusting. But what I am saying to you is reparations isn't the way. All right. Who did I say was next? I think it was Tim. Go ahead, Tim.
Shio to my Native American friend that's hello in Cherokee. Asheville, to reparations here. Asheville, North Carolina was the first county in the United States to do reparations. It's in a form of a program. It's some program. Opening a wallet and giving checks and all that, that ain't gonna happen. What everybody has a different opinion on this reparations, and mine is you look back to the Civil War. So the Civil War, there was over 600 and some thousand people died in this war, and 590,000 of them were white.
Sorry,
that's
sure. I'm sorry to interrupt you. I don't know if everybody can hear me because I've never done this before. What I'm about to say, it's all facts.
What? So 590,000 of them were white, to free the blacks. Some were against, some weren't. That's what it was. You could throw your thumb down, up and down all you want. The Native Americans had it 10 times worse than the slaves did. Read Trail of Tears. There's some good facts for you. So this reparation, it burns me up. I mean, it burns me up because they're pointing at all other Americans that, and you too, just like Melody said, we're all liable for this. No, we're not. We're so beyond that. And it's just like my man said, the Native Americans, we're so far beyond that. This is 2023, man. Get off your ass and work and earn it. Period. So anyways, that's my 2 cents. I don't hate you. I'm not pissed. It just ain't going to happen.
Yeah. It's not, and it's a grift, and they're not even gonna. They already know it's not they. The government already knows it's not going to happen. They're just looking for votes. Go ahead, my co-host Marlon, go for it.
Now let me go first.
Matt, go ahead.
Man, I'm sitting here and I have this moment of kind of clarity as we have this conversation, and I hear people upset on both sides, and I've got some deep feelings myself on both sides, and this is, I'm going to say this, and no matter what side of the argument you might be on, this is what they want. This is what they want. They want us having the conversation in this manner. They want us at each other's throats. They want us saying things like, they want me saying, well, my family got off the boat in 1913. So what the hell do I have to do with any of this? They want They want people going, well, the Native Americans had it worse. They want people laying out their lineage to prove, that this is exactly what all of this is designed to do. And the end result of it will be that a single dollar is not paid out. But they have got us picking sides. They have got us trying to pick winners, and they have got us trying to pick losers. And as I listen to this conversation, I'm sitting here going, holy shit, Newsom hasn't even put his hat into the ring yet, and we're already going to war. Metaphorically speaking, of course.
Absolutely right.
Hey, can we just put this in perspective? I know my man had some figures, but I think he's a little short. The price tag for that would be $14 trillion with a T, trillion, right? And could you imagine the people that wouldn't get picked? I mean, this would be the problem. That's where the civil unrest would be like no other we've ever seen. So, that's the only problem that I see.
It's literally, they're trying to incite war. I mean, and that they want that. They make so much money off war, and they want death, and they want to depopulate this earth, and they don't care what color our skin is. They want us dead. I mean, that's just the truth of it. Go ahead.
I'm sorry, Mel, real quick. We're talking about this. We're talking about the amount of people killed, right? Let's talk about the amount of kids that are trafficked every year out of the U.S. 2 million kids. 2 million, right? They make more money than every NFL football team put together. So let's talk about money. Where is the money?
Yeah, no kidding. Like, it's none of our money and our tax dollars that we're paying isn't going to what we think it's going for. Go ahead, Naheem.
Naheem. You guys are hilarious. This is funny. I have several corrections to make, and then I'm going to end it with a question. I won't be long at all. First and foremost, the Democratic Party does not support reparations. I have that in the Jumbotron right now. When Janet Yellen went to Goree Island in, I think that's somewhere in Africa, one of the slave dungeons. I can't remember which country. She was asked, being that you're here, what about reparations to the descendants of quote unquote slaves in the United States? And she said, and I quote, the administration had, hold on, because I want to read this so that people can stop with these lies that I'm hearing in this space. She says the administration has not embraced reparations as part of the answer. The Democrats do not support reparations. That's number one. There's a bunch of different things that I heard that was wrong. Cherokees, Trail of Tears. The Cherokees were one of the 5 slave holding tribes, and they took on the Trail of Tears their Negro slaves with them. So when the country passed the 13th Amendment in 1865, they had to negotiate with tribes like the Cherokee, one of the 5 tribes, to tell them, y'all got to let these people go. We can't keep them as slaves in this country while we just released everybody else. And they got their freedom in 1866. We call those our cousins. The tax dollars thing, that is just bogus. The United States of America is a sovereign currency creator. It creates its own currency. It pays its debts in its own currency. Stephanie Kelton has a book called The Deficit Myth. I implore you all to get it, read it, and look it up. My question is to the host. You said that reparations in this country was unconstitutional. You said that several different times. I want to just, let me see. Let me pick one of these. Let me see. Okay, 1950. The Navajo Hopi Rehabilitation Act was passed, authorizing an appropriation of $88,570,000. I can't imagine what that is in 2023 money. Over 10 years for a program benefiting the Navajo and Hopi. And this comes from the University of Massachusetts Amherst website that has the whole list, the historical timeline of reparations payments made from 1783 through 2023 by the United States government, states, cities, religious institutions, universities, corporations, and communities. Host, if you are not a liar. If you're not a liar, can you show me where the Supreme Court, who has they make the determination on what's constitutional and what's not, has determined that reparations was unconstitutional? Give me the citation.
That's a great question. And I will just tell you that I am not aware of what you just talked about with the Hopi and so forth. And that's my lack of education about it. I'll just say that.
Can
But
can I
I put the
address
link.
that?
I'm putting the link in the comment section to the space.
I appreciate that. I'm going to let Jeremiah, sounds like he wants to address that. So go ahead, Jeremiah, and then I want the mic back.
So just shortly, without creating an argument, because Naeem, I respect you a lot. I've listened to you a lot, but you're comparing apples to oranges, right? So when we were talking about land that we came in as white, and when I say we, I'm Irish. I'm not American, but they came in and took land from people, right? And as far as slavery goes, that was people sold to people who introduced these slaves into America, right? But nonetheless, that was land. That was, those reparations were paid to people who we stole land from, right? That's apples and oranges. That being said, no matter how you look at it, right? We collectively, via, if you came here on a ship, if you were sold here, or if you had land taken from you, we're Americans now. And that's the way we should be looking at this. First and foremost, going forward, we all put our pants on. And this is what I stated earlier, just kind of like in a joking way. We all put our pants on every morning, one leg at a time. Most of us have struggled in one way, shape, or form. The difference is we put our boots, some of us put our boots on and go to work no matter what the government hands us. Some of us want things because they believe the government owes us. We've all been victims of something, one way, shape, or form, over the past, some of us all of our damn lives, right? We have to look at this as moving forward, not moving backwards. And that's what they want. They want us moving backwards. They want us having this discussion. They want us tying up our time so that we don't talk about the important issues, things that we need to be talking about. And that's human and child trafficking. And priority number one is child sex trafficking, because none of this matters. None of this matters if our children aren't safe. And not just here in America, but across the world. Freedom isn't free if our children aren't safe.
Well, that's a good talking point, right? Because it's a talking point. Not really good, but do you know that Black women and Black children are the largest group of missing people in this country? This government doesn't care about that. They've never tried to fix it. No one has ever voiced. Hold on. No one has ever voiced any concern about that. Now, when we're trying to fight for reparative justice, for what this government owes us, you talked about land, but I put in the Jumbotron a link to an article, how the government helped white Americans steal Black farmland. It is a documented history. So it's okay to give restitution to the Native Americans for the land that America stole, but it's not okay to give Black people their land back.
Okay, I agree with you. I'm going to just mute you because I hear it, and I want to calm this room down a little bit, but you're right. If land was taken from you, it needs to be given back to you. And I'm not saying, though, that I agree with reparations, the way that they are talking about reparations. So, guys, we have a lot of work to do. We have a lot of work to do to fix stuff. But what I'm saying to you is we got to do it. We've got to look at the fact, number one, what Jeremiah said is that this thing with our children. And on also, though, you said, I am going to come back at this a little bit. You said there's more Black women and kids. To be honest, we don't have the numbers. We don't know how many kids are being trafficked and who they are, and there's no way to quantify that. And unfortunately, it doesn't matter the color of the skin, though, is my problem with that.
That's not true, Melody. It's not true.
Matter. It's human beings.
That is 100% true. Because I can tell you right now, when I fight for a child, I don't look to see what the color of the skin is. I fight for the child.
But that's not my point. And I'm gonna end with this, and I'm gonna get off the space so y'all can continue. This Constitution is a compact between the citizens of this country. It is also a compact between the representatives that represent the citizens of this country in the states and at the federal level. And in that Constitution, it talks about petitioning the government for a redress of grievances. We petitioned for slavery with Callie House. We got nothing. Redlining, segregation, Jim Crow laws, racial housing covenants, the blockbusting system in places like Chicago, Illinois, where the new report shows that Black Chicagoans lost $3.5 to $4 billion due to racial housing. We got nothing. We are American citizens. And if you are, hold on, I'm gonna finish with this. If you're an American citizen, then you should be backing us for our right to petition this government for a redress of grievances. If not, you're fronting and you're up here lying. Point blank.
No.
I would address
Well,
that.
I agree with you, but let me ask you this. Not one person here has disagreed with your logic. All of us here are saying that the government is in the wrong in this. So to sit here and blame us for this, while we're all agreeing with you that the government is in the wrong for all of this, and you're not the only one that's been mistreated, brother. Let me tell you. I can tell you story after story after story, but I we've all have been wronged in one way, shape, or form throughout the course of time, right?
So somebody said earlier that the Indians had it worse than how we had it in slavery, which is a lie. Somebody said that working for a paycheck when our ancestors was forced to work at the end of a whip, brutal suffering in 90-degree weather with no pay, to build up the coffers of rich white Southerners who were indemnified and backed by the financiers in the North, in New York City and in New England. That is ridiculous. That's
I will
ridiculous.
tell you this, that somebody that you're speaking of is very, 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 very up on history and everything and so forth and so on. I don't always agree with the way he approaches things, but Indians were treated horribly as well, right? I mean, their land was pillaged, their women and children were raped and murdered. We can combat this on both sides, but that's my point is that the government has done a lot of us wrong, right? Over the course of time, be it Indian, be it Black America, be it Chinese or Irish immigrants or so forth and so on. Even up to this day, we've been done wrong. We've been lied to. And if you're as well versed on history, you know as well as I do that over the course of the last 60 years, we've been fooled, manipulated. Our vote hasn't mattered. It hasn't counted. We've been lied to, right? So this is my point. From here forward, we need to work together collectively, not as black and white or
work with us,
brown or green.
100%.
100%.
You gotta work with us.
That's 100% what I'm saying.
You speak about Irish, right? Irish Americans.
Wait. Hold on, man. Hold on. She gave you plenty, brother. Let some people finish, just like they let you finish. Okay.
Yeah, and also, I let you speak, and you said you wanted to say one more thing, and then Jeremiah, I love you, but you keep jumping in, and we need to get control of the room, and so me and the co-host got control of the room right now. All right. So here's the thing: we agree with you. We all need to work together. Y'all agree on it has to be one way. I'm saying you just listed off a whole list of things that you said that you asked the government for and they didn't do for you. I'm telling you, this is the same thing. They're not going to do this for you. They're not because you don't, maybe deserve it or whatever. I'm telling you, you listed off how many things right there, 5, 6, 7 things that they didn't do. So they got to do that. This is redress. Absolutely. Redress is needed, and we will redress. I'll redress right next with you on this stuff, because you're right. Redress of grievances is absolutely our constitutional right. Every one of us in this room. But what I'm telling you is they're grifting you. They're lying to you. We're coming up on an election year, and you go back every 4 years. It's like you can go back and do a case study on this, and I see you thumbing me down, but you're not willing to listen and learn something also. You just want me to learn something, but you don't want to learn something too. There's some things I know about here. And that is, you go back and you do a study, my friend, and you go find out every 4 years the exact patterns that they do to your people, the exact patterns that they do in the fear mongering of all of us, white, black, no matter what you are. There is a pattern, and if you'll pay attention, you'll see that they're working it on you again. And there is a different way that we need to come together and figure this out. And if reparations is what you want, I'm telling you, what they're doing right now is not how it's actually going to happen. It's not actually the way it's going to happen, because I can tell you they're grifting you. Now, does that mean y'all don't deserve your land back and redress and all those things? 100%. So does everyone who's ever been aggrieved. If the Hopis and different people have gotten through to them and gotten that done, wonderful. Let's figure it out together. But coming at us, because, and I see all these people in the comments saying really derogatory things to me. You know what? I am not your enemy. I'm not your enemy. And if there's some things I need to learn, I'll be happy to learn them. But you're shoving it down my throat that I'm going to have to be completely taxed out of even being able to keep myself a roof over my head, so that y'all can have reparations from something that happened. That's not the way to go about doing it. Taking from one to give to the other isn't how this goes.
That's not, I'm sorry, but that's not how reparations work. The federal government, who did they take from when they gave trillions of dollars out in COVID relief money, not just to American citizens, but to corporations and pork projects, et cetera, et cetera.
You
They
and
took,
me.
So my
they took
question
from
to
no,
you is,
they took
why
from
do
no,
we have more handout?
Oh my gosh. They took it from you and me. They took it from
no,
everyone.
they didn't.
No,
Did you
they
see an
did.
itemized tax deductible on your paycheck that said COVID relief money tax?
You're going to have to stop interrupting and just bursting out. That's not how we do spaces. That's not how we do this room. This is how. Do you see inflation right now? They gave us a bunch of money, and then they turned around and started taxing the heck out of us, raising our prices on everything. They're getting their money back and then some. They're laundering money left and right, and you don't see it because you don't want to. But we're going to get off this topic
All
because
right, I'm dropping down, but that's not, it was a supply chain shortage that caused the inflation. Y'all are capped. Y'all capped. In the hood, that mean y'all lying. Peace.
okay, he's going to drop down.
Somebody needs to go back to the hood because they're inaccurate as fuck.
Yeah, I mean, there's so much research, and there's so much research that can be availed by everyone here in this room. I don't care what side of this you are on, if you have been through something or not. The research is being done on a daily basis and has been for the past several years to understand that it is absolutely, we are all enslaved right now, not to the same degree. I'm not comparing the slavery that I'm going through right now to the slavery that your ancestors went through. That would be ridiculous. That would be absolutely abhorrent. But I am saying, y'all, we are all right now getting ready to fall into a communist country because of what's going on. Communist is all, thumbs down me all you guys want to. You don't understand. If you're thumbs down at me and you don't see that they're throwing communism at us 100 miles an hour, then you don't get it. So, somebody, one of my, let's see, who do I got? Kiwi and Jeremiah. I want to get off this topic. I want to move into something less volatile, because this is only going to continue to deteriorate from here. So I want to move it over. Shield, I want to talk to you. Come talk.
Hey, real quick, Mel, I'm sorry. It's a little late on the East here. I got to go, but thanks for having me up.
Marlon, thanks. And I'm going to end this room by 11:30, guys. So we're getting close, but hopefully we've made some progress here tonight. Shield, go ahead.
Yeah, I actually had a thought on the comment about redress of grievances from my constitutional studies and my high school debate days. But if you want to move on from the topic, I didn't know if there was anything else that you had on your mind beyond the original titling you had for the room. And so recognizing you've got a limited time left, what value has been on your mind or on your heart that you want to try to circle back to address for the group that's still here?
Yeah, thanks for the question. I think talking about if you have something tempered and educated to bring about redress of grievances, I think we could all learn something about it. And I would love to hear from someone who is able to articulate that with educated with education. And you sound like you have that. So please do talk to us about that. And yeah, we're going to wrap this room up soon, but I'm really glad you all have come in here and listened tonight. And Gypsy, I haven't heard you speak yet. You came up as a speaker. So if you're going to say something, girl, you can have a mic, but go ahead, Shield.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, it was interesting to me hearing the conversation about redress of grievances as it was applied to the topic of reparations, simply because, to my knowledge, the only context that it's mentioned in some of our early founding documents for America as we know it is in the First Amendment to the Constitution. I could be misremembering that it's applied elsewhere in regular parts of the Constitution or the Declaration, but specifically it's mentioned in the First Amendment. And so when I had studied it, it was the First Amendment people love to toss around, but essentially it says that it prevents the government from making laws establishing or regulating establishments of religion, prohibiting the free exercise of religion, abridging freedom of speech, abridging freedom of press, or kind of interrupting the freedom of assembly. And then it also provides the right to petition the government for a redress of grievances. So, what I was taught with that growing up is that it was essentially the built in remedy for when one of those earlier comma items in the First Amendment was violated in some way. So, if there was an instance where your freedom of speech was inhibited, your right to freedom of the press was restricted, different pieces related to religion or gathering or whatever, when those were being violated, especially by the government, then you had that right to petition the government itself for a redress of grievances. So, of justice and valuing justice and that desire for everyone to be able to live equally with full freedom in the country that we have presently. But applying it in this context, I think w- leaves things kind of just falling short because there are so many additional components and variables that are hard to easily address.
Yeah, it started jacking up. Hey, but look, I'm about to go to sleep, y'all. I just wanted to bring that real quick. Yeah, them white folks getting smoked. Like the amount of double speak in that particular conversation is crazy. But in any event, hey, look, that's why you got to get politically in tune to what's going on. Point blank, period. It's an easy debate at the end of the day. Hey, but anyway, hey, I appreciate this little nightcap, y'all. I'm up out of here. I got to get up early. I'll holler at y'all tomorrow, Arena Abroad. Peace.